Make sure that you stay in the microphone. A lot of times you lean away from it. It's like you're rejecting it. I think you need to hide. Why are you shushing me?
Are you going to hit the button?
What are you doing?
Guide me, mommy.
I could tell you wanted to say something weird. I was nervous to hit record. Happy May. It is May. And it is also our 32nd episode. We've learned a lot. I feel like I never want to go back and listen to our first few episodes. We've learned a lot, and yet here we are still messing with our microphones and making rattling noises after you guys listening. They're like, they have not progressed at all. We're trying though. Give us 32 more episodes and maybe it'll be better. It's just not as... So is your microphone in place yet?
You can't hear that.
Good God, no, I can hear it.
But everybody wants that.
Okay, so we have not talked about this yet on the podcast, so I'm very excited. But we have a really big first for us coming up, which is our first in-person event. It's going to be a 1-day event at our office in Cape Coral. And we're going to coach, each of us individually and together. And we're bringing in guest coaches, which I'm really excited about. And it's going to be just like one big, long day of intensive community. And to get to do this with our community is super exciting.
The only thing that I hate is that it's only one day, because every time that you do things like that, there's always so much shit that it's like drinking water from a fire hose. But it's always really, really exciting too. So.
But you know what's awesome about it is it's on a Friday. So we're going to do dinner with everyone on Thursday night. Then we're going to meet all day Friday. And then, I mean, I'm sure we will meet up with people over the weekend too. People that come and are going to make like a little mini vacation out of it. So, and we also have for the people that maybe can't get away, can't travel, don't want to travel, especially like you said, for a 1-day training event. We have in-person ticket options, but we also have a virtual replay option. So if you don't want to have a little vacation in Southwest Florida, then it's fine. We can send you the recordings and you can at least maybe feel like you were there and see the palm trees and our windows, and it'll be nice. So I'm super looking forward to it. And I know it's only May, but I feel like it's going to creep up on us really fast.
Time flies.
So that leads really smoothly into what we are actually talking about today, which is reframing negative situations in love and business. And I want to first talk about our relationships and shitty things. I mean, that could be one of them, like not getting enough time together. That could be a really negative thing that people dwell on. But talking about the bad stuff that happens in business is next, and that's going to be really fun. I have a list. It's so funny that every time we start talking about relationships, I want to lean heavily on the 4 agreements because it's so true. Like I was thinking about, how do I reframe if you come home and you're an asshole to me after work? Well, I'm not going to take it personally and I'm not going to make assumptions. So it's crazy how it plays so much into everything. But it's true. Like if you come home from work and you're pissed off and you're stressed out and you want nothing to do with me, but I'm like eagerly waiting at the door, excited to talk to you, then I'm going to feel really offended and feel like that was like a really negative interaction.
Yeah.
When really, like, I could reframe that. That had nothing to do with me. He needs to decompress. And I think so often we take things personally and we turn it into something bigger than what it is. And that was a big example for me. But I think a lot of times also, you can feel disconnected from your person, right?
It's so easy to feel a disconnect or just, like you said, make assumptions. Walk into a situation and you're all pepped up and you're all happy, and then the other person is not. So then you start telling yourself the story, and instead of just not assuming, now you start like feeling more like you should just, hey, I'm just going to totally disconnect with the situation, which just drives more and more like disconnection overall between the two of you.
Again, so often we can just take it so personally and feel like it's about us when really everyone has their own shit going on. Like just because you're in a couple doesn't mean that you don't experience your own personal shit that you just have to work through.
I mean, I always felt like personally responsible if I felt like you weren't feeling it. I don't know, happy about a certain thing or whatever. And it's like, I feel like we as couples put so much pressure on ourselves when it's not. Your feelings are not always my responsibility. Like
they're never your responsibility.
But I mean, like, except for like this, if I'm doing stupid shit that's actually hurting your feelings.
Yeah.
How your person's feeling, like that's their own fucking story and shit. When you start to make that your responsibility, which is something that I feel like I always used to do, it just ultimately pisses you off, especially if you're an eternal optimist like me, you know, because then you're like, how could someone be upset about this?
You know, it's so crazy. That was one of my biggest our biggest and probably first takeaways from therapy, one of our first couples therapy session, was that exactly. I think it really leans into a bigger picture of like when we were dealing with that so heavily, I was kind of recovering, I guess, from and still battling like postpartum depression. We were about to have our third baby. There was a lot of stress and anxiety and unknowns, just so many things coming into play in my world personally that had so little to do with you, but you felt this deep need to be fixing me and making me happy. And that's so much energy for you. And that's horrible. So maybe even that could be something that you can reframe where I'm going to be here for her and I'm going to be here when I can be here for her in the ways that I can be. But like, it's not my job to maybe fix this because I never expected you and never wanted you to be the fixer of my mind as I was navigating all these things.
I've always just been stuck on wanting people to be happy around me. You know what I mean? And I'm always a problem solver. So I just want to solve.
You know how we always talk about how we have mommy issues? So my mommy issues really stem from being raised by, I think, someone who was emotionally kind of up and down. So I, as like a younger adult, really embraced that and had to deal with that and get through that, where I don't really feel like I'm that way anymore. But same thing with you. I feel like you have this need to make the people happy around you, maybe because you can never really accomplish that. When we talk about therapy, we get to talk about cool stuff like that where we realize those things about each other. And when you realize that about each other, yourselves, whatever it is, you get to take accountability. Isn't it such a weight off your shoulders to realize that you don't have to fix my problems?
I don't know why I always felt so personally responsible, but having someone else tell me that it's not my deal, I think that was pretty powerful, because before I knew that and before that was kind of like a tool for me, that was always my kind of like internal go-to. When I would finally get pissed off enough that you were in a funk or whatever, I would just be like, fuck this, it is not my deal. And I thought I was dealing with it irrationally and I should always just bury myself deeper and deeper and deeper. And I might have like a bad attitude about it, but now I know that it's truly, that's not my, it's my mental space, and me being happy is my problem, and yours is yours. And it's not for either of us to necessarily, unless you're asking for guidance or help or thoughts or feelings, it's not my thing.
And which I think is worth noting too, because this isn't to say like leave her alone or leave your person alone if they're struggling. It's not that. I guess it's bearing the weight of being the fixer on so many things. Honestly, when I had postpartum depression, I needed someone to pull me out of the pit. I needed you and I needed our midwife to tell me, hey, it's okay to like get help, get on medicine. So I truly believe that sometimes you do need someone to lift you up and pull you up.
Yeah.
But then on the flip side, in other situations, people may not want to change or be willing to improve or make a shift in their life until they're ready. So I guess that's more of the side that like I'm coming from, is where it's your job just to be there to support your person. So when you are wanting to like reframe these negative situations, instead of thinking like, holy shit, our relationship's like going down the shitter and they're like depressed and they're awful, because we made it through the worst of the worst, truly, I believe. God. And if we can, then like honestly, I think so many people could also. But I think that you can ask like, what work needs to be done? Just like in a business, like we're having this roadblock, we're having this problem. It's not like, oh shit, there goes my whole business. It's like, no, what change can we make?
What do we got? What do you have to alter or tweak to get there?
Because relationships are a shit ton of work, a shit ton of intentional work. Just like we talked about in the tip of the week, like the connection has to be intentional. The work that you do to stay in a relationship, especially as you guys are evolving and growing as people or parents or business owners or whatever, leveling up in life and just experiencing the changes, like that all has to be very intentional.
Well, and it's so big to know, like just having the help of a therapist and working on yourself, like knowing what's truly your responsibility and what's not, and then shifting yourself towards the things that actually matter versus, everybody spends so much time stewing in bullshit. That's what I used to do. And it's really powerful to at least have a little bit of a roadmap and then be heading continuously shifting back towards that to stay on the right path.
You know what I think can be powerful also is just plain old like acceptance. For me, I've really realized that no, we are not in the sexy time of our life. We are not in the spontaneous time of our life. We are in the season of life that we are bogged down with little kids and responsibility and work and sacrifice. And it is beautiful in its own way, and it's so much fun in its own way. But like, dude, our 40s are going to be awesome. Like all this work we're putting in, and our kids are going to be older. We're going to have more freedom in life. That's what's going to be amazing. So I think also if you're in this, oh my God, this is so hard right now. Like we're having babies or we're struggling with this or whatever it is, get some perspective that everything is so temporary, and even disconnection is temporary. Like if you're, for example, because this is something we've experienced, if you're feeling like your wife just had a baby and she doesn't even notice you, and she's like just not even herself, and she's whatever, this brand new person. Well, she fucking is, because she just had a baby. But also like this little part of life is so short and so temporary,
even though it feels like it's going to last an eternity.
And I think so many people are more likely to be like wanting to explode and give up, be like, fuck all of this, even though it's in that situation, it's something you guys both like, it's both of your deals, but it's so easy to get so frustrated. If you can just kind of take a breather, even if it's like a 6-month breather, and accept that like this season of life is not the fun one. It's going to get awesome, and there's going to be some bright moments, but that's been really powerful.
But it may take a while.
It may take a while, but you're going to come out of it. Like you're going to like one day you both are just going to open your eyes and look at each other and actually see each other again. And I think that really happened with us.
Fucking thing's about to fall off and I can't get it to stay on here, and it's like walking away as I try to. I'm sorry. Like I realized that this is frustrating for you. I want chairs that sit up straight.
I know you really need them. Plus, I feel like you look
I
uncomfortable.
hate leaning back, and it makes me cozy.
Let's get tall.
I'm just yawning, and I don't want to yawn.
Let's get
it's making me angry that I'm
real
yawning.
fucking tall chairs.
I've got them
in my cart on Amazon.
Okay, let's do this.
Can we move on to the part that I'm really excited to hear you talk about?
Yeah, guide me. Sorry, it had to run back with me. It was running away, but now it's running back.
Does anyone still listen to this thing? We're a mess.
Nobody hears these noises.
No. Okay, so let's talk about how to reframe shitty things that happen in business.
Yep.
Your lead foreman quits. You hire somebody that sucks in their position.
I fucking hate that.
Your competitor goes crazy on you.
Oh.
Your spray tech gets in a wreck. A pandemic unleashes. You get sued by an old employee. You lose $40,000 on a big project.
Maybe let's just...
You have to close down an entire location. These are all things that have happened to us. I thought you'd like to live in some of those moments.
Maybe you should read these. I like I think that we should go one by one. You should fire it off, and I'm going to give you my rapid thought process. So let's start with number one. I can't remember what it was.
Okay, so we're talking, stay on track in that we're reframing the shitty things that happen in business.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I'm on track. I'm ready to reframe.
Okay, then shut up. Your lead foreman quits.
This is a shitty one, and like, I can't fucking tell you how many times this has happened. So when I see people like freak out about it, it's like, oh, fucking, this is just your first, right? It's like,
this is your first time.
It's like, yeah, is this your first time? It's like getting broken up with.